Hello, welcome to our presentation. Our group member is
Elsa.
me, Fidelia, and Clara. Now we will discuss about psychological foundation in curriculum. So, enjoy the watching.
Enjoy.
Psychology is concerned with the question of how people learn, and curriculum specialists ask how psychology can contribute to the design and delivery of curriculum. Psychological foundation consists of three major theories, which is behaviorism, cognitive psychology, and phenomenological and humanistic psychology. The major theories of learning have been classified into three groups. The first, behaviorism or association theories. This is the oldest group, which deal with various aspects of stimulus response and reinforcers. The second, cognitive information or processing theories, which view the learner in relation to the total environment and consider the way the learner applies information. The third, phenomenological and humanistic theory, which consider the whole child including their social, psychological, and cognitive development. Firstly, I will explain about behaviorism. Behaviorism is the oldest group of psychology that deals with various aspects of stimulus response. Behaviorism emphasizes conditioning behavior and altering the environment to get the selected response. Behaviorism in learning tends to focus on conditioning, modifying, or shaping behavior through the reinforcement and rewards. Connectionism, as defined by Thorndike, is a knowledge production that connecting more and more habit or behavior into a complex structure. Or we can say that learning is connecting more and more stimulus response into a complex structure. Thorndike defined learning as habit formation and teaching as arranging the classroom to enhance desirable connection and association. Thorndike clarified three measures of learning, which are the first, law of preparation, where something that is prepared will make a satisfied result. And the second, law of exercise, where we maintain the exercise will strengthen the connection between stimulus and response. And the last, law of effects. It is defined that any behavior that is followed by a pleasant consequence is likely to be repeated. The succession of stimuli and response is not enough for learning to occur. It needs reinforcement. When an act is followed by a reward, it tends to repeat itself, whereas when it's followed by a punishment, the probability of its repetition decreases. Now, we will discuss Thorndike's theory about connectionism influenced other experts such as Tyler, Taba, and Berner. Practice merely doesn't necessarily strengthen memory of learning transfer, which serve to free the curriculum from the rigid roughness and drill of the past. Taba suggests problem-solving and inquiry discovery techniques in learning, and Berner assumed that learning that is involved meaningful organization of experience can be transformed more readily than learning acquired by the heart. In behaviorism, we believe that reinforcement is important in learning. Clark Hall, as behaviorist, states that the connection between stimulus and response is determined by its relation to drive and reward. Drive means a state of tension arising from a personal biological or psychological needs, and the reward means the satisfaction of the need. Here, conditioning takes place to reduce the drive and leads to the reward or reinforcement, or we can say that conditioning is used to strengthen the stimulus-response connection. Reward or reinforcement of this connection is an accordance with reducing drive result in an organization of behavior called habit. Now we continue to discuss operant conditioning. Operant conditioning is based on the idea that we can increase and decrease a certain behavior by adding a consequence. We can provide reinforcement or punishment. Reinforcers is divided into three kinds: primary reinforcer, secondary reinforcer, and generalized reinforcer. A primary reinforcer applies to any stimulus that helps satisfy a basic drive, such as for food, water, or sex. A secondary reinforcer, such as getting approval from friends or teacher, receiving money, or winning school award. The example of providing reinforcement and punishment is: if a student doesn't do his homework, the teacher can either provide reinforcement so the student will do again, or punishment so he stops doing that. Both can either positive or negative. It is illustrated on schedule feedback. We can make a table which consists of reinforcement and punishment in the column and positive and negative on the line. If reinforcement is positive, we can add something unpleasant, such as money or cookie, to increase the possibility of a behavior. If reinforcement is negative, we can removing something unpleasant, like when the teacher said, "You almost correct, nice try," even though the student's answer is incorrect. If punishment is positive, we add unpleasant response to decrease behavior. For example, the teacher add more homework to a students who didn't do their homework. And the last, when punishment is negative, we can remove something unpleasant. For example, after two children get into a fight over who gets to play with a new toy, the mother simply takes the toy away from both children. Now we will discuss about acquiring new operant. Behavior can be shaped or modified, and complex concepts can be taught. The individual's capacity for the desired response enables the shaping of behavior or learning. Behavior and learning can be shaped through a series successive approximation or a sequence of response that increasingly approximate the desired one. Thus, through a combination of reinforcing and sequencing desired response, new behavior is shaped. This is what some people today refers to behavior modification. Also, behavior modification approach vary according to the students and the behavior being sought. They are widely used in conjunction with individualized instructional techniques, program learning, and classroom management techniques where student activities are specified, structured, paced, reinforced, rewarded, and frequently assessed in terms of desired learning outcomes or behaviors. Bandura, in his observation in learning and modeling, found that people can learn and have their behavior shaped by observing another person or even film. Those can modify taste and attitude, how we learn and perform, and what we want to be. Robert Cagney has presented a hierarchical arrangement of 8 types of learning sets. The first, signal learning or classical conditioning. It is a response to a given signal. The second, stimulus response. or operant conditioning. It is a response to a given stimulus. The third, motor chains. It is linking together two or more stimulus-response connections to form a complex skill. The fourth, verbal association. It is linking two or more words or ideas. The fifth, multiple discrimination. It is responding in a different ways to different items of a particular set. The sixth, concept, or reacting to stimuli in an abstract way. The seventh, rules, or chaining two or more stimulus, situation, or concept. The eighth, problem solving. It is combining known rules or principles into new elements to solve a problem. Those hierarchy of learning represent a transition between behaviorism and cognitive psychology. The first four behaviors are behaviorist, and the last four are mainly cognitive, or from the simple to the complex method. Behaviorist Educator in charge of curricula use many behaviorist principles in creating new programs such as basic skill training program in reading language development, creating methods of individualized instruction, creating direct instruction, mastery learning program, instructional training design, and competency-based education. Behaviorism techniques used in education is contrast or concentrate on behavior change, consequence, reinforcement, and extension behavior modification.
So, that's all that I can explain about behaviorism psychology related to curriculum. In the next video, Elsa will explain about cognitive psychology. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.